your host, and welcome to this week's episode of Wow, Love, Light, Inspire, the podcast, especially for women just like you, by Inspirational Women. It's the go-to podcast that introduces you to women who are leaders in their industry field. They're experts, and they're from all around the world, and they're totally inspirational. They're going to talk to you on all sorts of different topics and matters that mean the most to them. Their stories will be revealing, will be honest and open, and they should be fascinating conversations. So hopefully they'll help you understand yourself maybe a little bit more, and others, and navigate life in general as we discuss all things women. Now, if you're in business for yourself, or you have something that you want to do, being a productivity strategist every Monday morning or Sunday evening in the US, I have a course going where everyone sits and works out their to-do lists, works out what they need to do for the week ahead to have a highly productive week. If you'd like to join us, please get in touch and you can come along each week and work out exactly what you need to do to make yourself the most incredible person there is, because you've got a to-do list. You've got vision. We put down our goals and we work out where we want to go. So please get in touch if you'd like to join us, either on a Sunday afternoon or evening, depending on which time zone you're on in the world, or a Monday morning if you're in Australia. Now, today we have coffee chat. So please sit back, relax, as we have 5 or 6, including me, amazing women, all in different decades of their life, and we're going to be talking about aging. So enjoy, and please subscribe to the podcast. Hit the 5-star button if you really like it, and leave us a review, because we'd really like that. It'd be great if you could share it to your friends so everyone can get to hear us. And enjoy the podcast today. I think you'll love it. So, welcome, ladies. I'm really excited about today. Honestly, if I was to have more inspiring women in front of me, I could not get a better bunch than you guys. So, yeah, no, absolutely, Lise. Everyone is just, you've all got your amazing places. So I can introduce nearly all of you, but I think it probably will be better if you do it yourself. So, Nissa, do you want to start? You're my top left. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell everyone what you do?
Hi everyone. So I'm the representative for the 20s here. So I am Nissa. I'm from Philippines, and I do podcast management as my service. At the same time, I'm a mom at the early age, very early age, and I'm a breadwinner of my family. I am living with my grandma, and actually they are the one who stand as my parents, because I don't have a my biological mom and dad. So in my 26 years of existence, it's been so challenging and life was so hard, but thank goodness that I'm here in front of you, and I'm so happy to meet you all, even it's online, but I can really feel the genuine welcome and warm welcome, especially from Lorraine. So thank you so much. That's a short one.
I'll just say that Nissa is an entrepreneur in her own right. She has a team of people working behind her just doing podcasts. So to have that going in business on her own at 20, I think is really amazing.
That's cool.
Thank you.
So how about we go to 30s? Jemimah, you're in your 30s. Introduce yourself and tell us how amazing you are.
I don't want to follow Nish. She did such a great job. My name is Jemimah Ashleigh. I'm an international keynote speaker, best-selling author, and I am the CEO and founder of the Visibility Lab. We are an industry house that teaches women how to do PR done with you rather than paying PR firms. We actually educate you on how to do it yourself so you're not spending an exorbitant amount of money elsewhere. I grew up in very rural Victoria, to a small town with only 100 people. So there was a lot of kind of odds against me actually doing anything with my life. I've now been featured about 350 times across the media, and interviewed about 500 times in podcasting. And I worked for government in law enforcement for the federal government for about 13 years. And the other thing I'll talk about today is getting divorced in your 30s. So a bit of stuff going on with me.
That's just an incredible achievement on everything that you've done. It's really, I really inspired by everything that you've done. Mel, now I've known you for quite a few years now, and you are an incredible person who I've watched grow over those years too, which has been even more incredible.
Well, thank you, lovely. Thank you. You're spot on when you said in the presence of inspirational women. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you. Well, yes, me. I am Melonie Taylor. I'm the Chief Energy Officer of Success on Purpose. So that's our business. We support empathic, burnt out high achievers to thrive. Why? Because that was me. I was the burnt out, empathic, overachiever, human doing, busy, running away from myself, driven by fear, I'm not good enough, anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation, and really didn't enjoy this life too much at all. I was also working as a nurse. I was a palliative care nurse, which I did. I loved that. Supporting people to die well. Now have transitioned into supporting people to live well. And yeah, I suppose my greatest gift has been that working with people that were dying, because it made me realize that I wasn't living my life. I was more scared of living than I was of actually, I was fine to die. I was like, get me off this earth. But I was too scared to live. And so started to get out of my comfort zone. I had very severe social anxiety. I couldn't talk to more than 2 people. But yeah, I suppose my soul, that yearning inside of me to make a difference in the world and make my life count, just kept moving me, and ended up doing Toastmasters, joined a business group. And now, training practitioners to do what I do, so that we can stretch more and support people to self-love. Actually, I didn't know I was from, as you were saying, Jemimah, from the country. Put everyone else first, put yourself, if there's anything left, you can have that little last bit, which led me to so much burnout. So now we teach people how to be selfish with a capital S, put yourself first, fill up yourself, the oxygen mask, and then you can give out from the overflow. And then from that beautiful space, everyone gets to thrive and live their dreams. Everyone's happy, because we've all got so much to contribute. And it's just using that courage. This journey is challenging, but when we've got all beautiful, powerful women around us and to support each other, it's a beautiful journey that I'm very grateful for now. So thank you for the presence, to be in the presence of you beautiful women. I'm very grateful.
My pleasure. Lise, now I've known you for maybe 2 or 3 years, something like that.
It's probably about 3 years, I think, Lorraine.
Yeah. And I've watched you present at different things and gone, wow, this woman's really good. So go for it.
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. So I just recently had a brand change I'm a business coach, all right, to start with, but my brand and my name that they call me is the business chick. And I think it's really a statement for me, going from what I thought I needed to be as a business coach to be like everyone else who's a business coach and just own who I actually am. And that's a new stage for me, and I'm so loving it. I'm stepping into that now. So years ago, in my 20s and 30s, I was hopping around the world and I was presenting and holding workshops, and I was really being me and having a wonderful time doing it. And, I was in the media. This is before we had social media, by the way, girls, Jemimah and Nissa. So being in the media was like kind of big deal back then because there wasn't a lot of media around. So I was enjoying that. And then after I had children, you're at home all the time and you're out of the limelight and your identity changes. And so it's only just now that I'm actually stepping back into that. Hey, let's go have fun. Let's be Lisa. Let's relax. Let's be the business chick, and helping people own that in their business. So I'm really loving that. But for businesses, I work with small businesses to scale up. They're already doing great, but they need help to take that next step. So as you said, Melonie, it's not only just about owning who they are and stepping into being selfish for themselves, but learning all those structures and pieces of practical tools that they need to be able to take their business into the next level and scale up. So great to be here. Thanks for having me, Lorraine.
Oh, pleasure. And you know what I suddenly think? I've got all these questions, but I haven't thought about what I'm going to say myself. So here we go, off the top of my head.
Hey, Lorraine, who are you?
Look, that's what I'm just finding out. I'm just turned 61, and it's like, I was thinking the other day, I'm like in my 20s. I'm absolutely discovering who I am. So my 50s were my 20s. So maybe now I'm in my 30s and I'm getting there, It's like, oh, yeah, I know who I am now. But I'm probably a serial entrepreneur. I started my first Avon business when I was 17 to save up for a car. And I have gone on and had one after the other. So I'm the serial entrepreneur. So at this particular point, I'm transitioning from a roofing business, which was not serving me at all well, into becoming the productivity strategist that you're all going to hear about, because that's what I do well. I'm really good at doing that sort of thing, seeing the big picture, seeing the steps, having the motivation and getting there. So that's my big strength. So that's where I'm now working from. And doing these podcasts, look, I want to give back to women. I had an abusive marriage and everything else. I got out of that at 50, and that's when I could, the biggest, what happened, which I thought was a disaster, ended up being my biggest gift out there. And I can now give back to women and actually give back to everyone what I was hiding and what I didn't even know that I had inside myself before that. So I am still discovering who I am. Who am I? I don't know. Oh, I'm this and I'm that. But you know what I've really learned? I'm pretty bloody good, actually. I'm not that little mouse that was, hiding underneath the table because, I was told that, I was too embarrassing to come out. I'm actually much better than that, and I'm pretty bloody good. So, yeah, that's sort of who I am and half of my story, if that makes sense.
Not even half, just a tiny little piece of your story.
Yeah, it is, because we are so multifaceted. It's just, it's really incredible. Now, this lady, Val, my God, she does my head in every time I see what she's doing. And you girls probably don't know Val. She's just like the little quiet achiever at the background, but she's just an amazing woman. So, Val, tell us your story.
Oh, which one? And having just listened to all of you, I'm thinking, why am I here? Because I'm really at the end of the line, so to speak. And I'm thinking, I'm not in business anymore. I'm not looking to achieve any great heights. I think I'm really more about honoring self, just knowing what it is that makes one happy on the inside and having a lot of fun along the way. And as I sort of say yes to more and more things are opening up. And yeah, it's interesting. So what have I achieved? Probably, well, one of my greatest things that I'm the most proud of is my 6-month journey to Africa, into Kenya on my own, on a pension at 72. That was the most amazing time that I have had in my life for my own self-learnings and what I've been able to help and sharing, support those people over there in that third world country. And then since being back, I have started a swimming group through my own depression through COVID lockdown. And yeah, went from swimming on my own to attracting a few more, and then word of mouth, and we had about 80 on the group. So I have been swimming every day. So that's a bit about me, just having fun, living life at the other end of the world. Yeah, so that's it.
And you're also speaking this weekend too?
Reluctantly, yes. Thank you, Lorraine. Yes, I am. I have been lured into being a model on This Is Me. It's an event that's on tomorrow at Collingwood Town Hall. So that will be an interesting one. Totally out of my comfort zone yet again. So I seem to do that frequently. But it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
It sounds like there might be a bit of a theme in this room around outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, quite possible, because being outside my comfort zone really doesn't scare me. I just push through it and just do it.
Well, I guess that's where we find the best versions of ourselves, isn't it?
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah.
So today the topic is aging. So I asked my 30-year-old daughter, what should I ask about? And she said, oh, Botox and how to stop it. Oh, I've gone, interesting. Interesting.
How to stop it?
Yeah. As in to hide it, you know, so they don't have to deal with it. And it's like, interesting.
That's an interesting take, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? So it will be interesting to hear, you know, what is aging to you? You know, what is getting older? Nis, what does it mean to you?
For me, I'm still in my 20s and I feel old. I feel so old. Like when I was 18, I know when I was 15, I really want to be like, when I will be 18, I will be free. Like I want to get to the point that I want to be 20, I want to be 30. But now that I'm in my 20, I'm 26. And next month I will be in my 27. So like, wow, time flies so fast. I can't even imagine that 3 years, like 4 years from now, I'll be out of the calendar. I will be like 30 years old then. But yeah, for me, aging is a process that makes a person I feel pressure actually. I feel a bit of pressure, like in my age. I don't know, in this generation maybe some of my batchmates are getting into something adventures, risks of their jobs or their careers. So with our age, we are now struggling to what are we going to do? Like we are pressuring ourselves on what are the things that might give us in the future. Like we're thinking like that. I don't know with the other 20s, but some of my the people that I know here, and especially in my career in the freelancing, they are mostly 20 plus. So it's just like, oh, is this really the pressure that at this age that we are pressuring ourselves to get that career in our 30s? Because we are in myself, I want to retire at the age of 30. That's my goal. I want to retire, like I want to be like Miss Lorraine and Miss Val, or some other people like I met that they are now, I don't know the future, but I want to feel the freedom because yeah, with my experience at the very young age, I am working. At the age of 12, I am working. So that's a bit of pressure in myself. That is why I really want to strive more, that at the age of 30 soon, in God's will, I will be free and a bit of enjoying life.
Jemimah, do you feel the pressure that Miss was talking about? She's going, yes.
Pressure and I are becoming very good friends in the last couple of years. So I'm 36, just about to turn 37. Weird time in the world for me. So historically, I got married. I did all the right things. I followed what everyone told me was the right timeline. And I followed what everyone else did. And I'm about to tell you what that means to me in a second, and how it relates to aging. But I met the boy at 26. We got engaged at 29. We got married and then subsequently divorced. And I got divorced in the middle of a global pandemic. If you ever want to know true pressure, that is it. That, like, look no further. That's the perfect storm. So 36, a couple of things have happened that are of interest. People keep telling me I need to have children. And if I don't have children, specifically, that will make me unhappy, and that my life will not be fulfilled. I don't know true love until I've had a child. I need to find another partner too sweet. But the one that my clock is ticking. This is the phrase I'm hearing all the time. The clock's ticking. And I was like, you don't know me. Like, my clock is being turned off and white, guys. I'm good with my clock not being there. Personally, I am a very maternal aunt. I love my nieces and nephews, but I am being told every day through the media, through the press, through people that I meet, when I don't have a wedding ring on, when I tell people that I'm divorced, that I am going to end up sad and alone, and that single women, particularly single women in their 30s, because that clock's ticking, you're going to be sad forever, like you're sad. Well, of course, my little genius brain was like, let's test if this is true. There was a study that was done just before the pandemic by Oxford University that asked the question, who is the happiest people on the planet? And would you like to know who those people were? They were 30-somethings with over $100,000 in income, 30 women with a pet, usually, 100,000 coming into their life, $100,000, I think it was, and they were single or divorced. So I'm like, everyone keeps telling me how sad I should be, and I'm like, we have data though that says completely opposite of that. The pressure that I feel predominantly is to still look like I'm in my 20s, to act like I am in my 40s, and to not have that gray area that it's like, you aren't a 20-year-old anymore, so you can't be out there kissing men or going on dates with random people, and how dare you have a sexual relationship with someone that you're not engaged or married to or living with, because you're not in your 20s, you can't do that anymore. It's not the time to mess around and experiment. You have to own a house, and you have to do this, and you have to have married, and you have to get kids. So I'm being told that I have to look like I'm in my 20s, and then I have to act like I'm in my 40s, and then I'm miserable all the time. None of that's true, by the way. I'm like, that's the pressure that I feel every day. And people are very quick to tell me that I need to, I was getting my brows done. They're like, you should get them tattooed, you should get Botox, you should get your hair done. You've got a bit of a grey patch. Let me be.
They are really quick to say things like that, aren't they? As if they have a right to tell you how they can help you improve.
Yeah, but also, like, are you improving my uterus? Like, what's the plan here? Are you helping me have a kid? Like, what's going on? Like, do you want to have children? You better get a tap. Clocks are ticking. Turn it off. I don't want it. So I feel a lot of pressure all the time because I'm not meant to be. I don't fit into a box right now. I don't fit into the mum, and I don't fit into, I have my own business, and I travel extensively. I did until the pandemic. I traveled all the time. I lived abroad all the time, and it was like, you're divorced, you should be miserable. You can't act like you're in your 20s anymore. You've got to grow up.
So this is, I it was really interesting that you said that I don't fit into a box, into any of those boxes. And when you really think about it, do we want to be in a box? Do we want to fit into a box?
No.
I don't think
No.
if we really sat back and thought about it, I don't want to sit in a box with everyone else and just be like everyone else.
But I did when I was her age.
Well, that's what we've been trying to
No,
do
don't
in our
now.
whole life, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've been trying to fit into this little box. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in being in a box, and nor have I ever really. I grew up in a small town, and at 18, I picked to do national security as an undergrad degree. I was never exactly the box person. But what I will say is that it makes other people uncomfortable when I'm not in a box. And the problem is the pressure that I feel is that of conformity. You will get married, you will have children. The conversation that I have with my family, and they don't mean to, like, I'm T minus 4 months from getting married, and everyone's like, are you excited? And I was like, I'm pretty sure I don't want to do this. And everyone's like, that's just cold feet, that's totally normal, you'll be fine. Happens to everyone. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it's a different feeling than that. No, it's just cold feet, you'll be right. I'm like, all right. I was actively saying, I don't think I want to do this. Like, I don't think. And it was like, that's just cold feet, that's normal.
Mel, how are you with this whole conversation? Because I can see this resonating with you.
I love it. Oh my God. That's why I love aging. I'm 45. I'm proudly 45. I'm the happiest I've ever been. I feel comfortable in my own skin. I struggled from probably in my teens, anxiety, depression, fitting in, the empath, deep feeler. Everyone else says, get over it, don't worry about it. And I'm just like, but are you worried? Are you concerned? Like, it's just, yeah, it nearly killed me, actually. And now I know who I am. Well, as you say, Lorraine, I'm constantly learning who I am. That so resonates, Jemimah. God bless you. I just remember being there and everyone was like, yeah, why have you got a boyfriend, Mel?
I'm with you. Why don't, I know someone, I met this guy the other night, he's divorced too, you should meet him. And I was like, no, like, I don't mind the divorce, guys, don't get me wrong, but as soon as it starts with this is what you have in common, you're divorced. I'm like, yeah, let's bring trauma into this. Let's start from trauma. Let's start from there and work our way up.
Oh, I love it. And yeah, and so I suppose I rebelled against the norm. I saw the norm. I saw everyone wasn't happy. Grew up in a very codependent, parents and the very traditional roles. And I just rebelled it. And I'm like, and then I watched everyone around me and I'm like, hang on a minute, no one's happy. Everyone's telling me to be as happy as them and get it. And I'm like, but hang on a minute, this is not adding up. And so, but I struggled. And then my mum, bless her, love you, mum, if she sees this, but I was the firstborn, and she used to say all the time, when am I getting my grandchildren? And like, that would trigger me hugely. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm a failure. I'm single. I haven't had kids. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. But then I realized it's her stuff. It's her need for love. She's not loving herself. So she needs a little person to love. And so, but I had to work through so much stuff. And as I did, I worked through that for myself and released that sort of judgment that I had around myself. She stopped saying it, which was very interesting. And so I had to get to know who I was, what I wanted in life. And then I've met the man of my dreams, and he's just absolutely amazing. But I needed to find out who I was. And, I tried all the relationships, the square peg, round hole, and I nearly killed myself he was a beautiful man, but he just wasn't for me. But everyone was like, but he's amazing.
There's nothing wrong with him.
There's nothing wrong. And then I'm like, oh my God, and I was in my 30s, early 30s. I'm like, what's wrong with me? Okay, try harder. Okay, go. You can do this. Buckle up. And I spiraled into very severe depression. And then I just let go of all that. And I thought, I just want to be single. And I was never into the dating thing, online dating. I'm like, this is just a nightmare. And so I just did my own journey, work with mentors and self-discovery, inner work, and just found my own happiness and just thriving in life, building a business has been one of the greatest things as well, because you learn so much about your stuff, or your stuff comes up. And then I just, and all my depression went away, my anxiety. Now I'm a joyful child because, as you said, Jemimah, beautifully about, grow up. Well, I did. Took on responsibility, and that did not work for me. So now I'm just, my measure of success every day is how much did I love myself, and how much fun did I have. So I'm all about joy, enjoying life. And I love aging. I love my wrinkles. It took me a lot of hundreds of thousands of dollars of professional development to smile and feel authentically happy when I was so depressed. So I don't want I don't want to remove any of my wrinkles. I don't want any Botox. I'm very proud of my smile, my lines that I now have. And I do dye my hair. I'm not really that blonde anymore. But but each to their own. People want to do Botox, but I'm keeping my smile, keeping my lines. They've cost me a lot of money to get me. So I love getting older every day. People have a birthday, and especially being a palliative care nurse, I looked after people that were 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. The youngest I looked after was 3 months old. It's the greatest gift to have a birthday every year. When people say, "Oh, I'm getting older," I say, "Aren't you lucky?" And they go, "Oh, I never looked at it like that, Mel. Thank you." So I think every year's a gift. I love getting older. I'm excited to be 46, 47, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I just think the hardest part is the early years, because you're just, the pressures of fitting in and conforming. And who am I? Because you're trying to fit into a box, as you beautifully said. And I was like, I don't fit into this box, so I'm wrong.
I constantly think, like, very often now, and Val, I'm guessing that you probably think the same thing. I often think to myself, oh my God, if only I knew then what I know now. Oh my God, if only I knew about men and boys what I know now that I have raised boys and their men, and I know so much more about them and how they think, and all of that stuff that they said back then when I was a teenager wouldn't have bothered me, because I understand them so much better. If only I knew that people were going to say to me when I was sitting in the hospital with my firstborn, that people would say as soon as they walked in the door, "When are you having a second one?" If only I knew that, it wouldn't have affected me as much as it did. So in hindsight, we can look back and think, you know what, that wasn't actually such a big deal. If only I knew then what I know now. So from now on, I'm going to tell myself when things really affect me or I take something the wrong way, I'm going to think, okay, when I'm 70, I'm going to think to myself, if only I knew then what I know now. This isn't such a big deal. It's not that big a deal. Would you say that's right, Val? Oh, you're on mute.
On mute. Look, I certainly would, Lise. No, you've gone sideways now, Val. I certainly would. Look, I wouldn't go back to being 20, 30, 40 again. When I go back to 50, only if I can take what I know now.
Yeah.
At least you're not even there yet. And Val will probably say the same. Val, you're still on mute.
Mel, you said an interesting point that I just want to touch base on, and it's something that you can't really talk about in a public forum. And like, honestly, I would do a keynote on this, or just like, can someone out there listening to this do a sociological experiment on this, or like a research paper about the people who were so quick to tell you, like, oh, you've got to meet someone. I'm like, how's your marriage really? If you could do this all again, would you do it again? If you got to pick, really interesting question, if you got to pick everything in your life as it is right now, would you make exactly the same decisions?
The one thing that I've learned is you can't go back, because otherwise you'd be regretting every decision you made from the first one onwards.
But it's really, what's really interesting is how many people who are quick to give you advice on what you should do in your life. I'm like, are you truly happy, or are you just wanting to plop me into your little box for a bit, so it makes it easier. And I think, Mel, you probably would have felt this too, is that if you're a woman in your 30s and you're divorced, you're a threat to other women. Like, people cannot occasionally see you as a threat to
I've
their
heard
partner.
that.
Yeah, like, what, you know, it was, I had friends, like couple friends that I never saw again. It was like, you know, obviously I'm an uncomfortable conversation in that house now, which I kind of have a little bit of a thrill, but I like, good, love that for me. Fine, that's your stuff, not mine though. What conversation happened? Like, can I just get the details? So it's an interesting one, but it really was, I had to start taking every time someone said that with a grain of salt. And I'm like, is that person truly happy if they're getting up in my business about my reproductive health and my reproduction stuff? Like, how much stuff do you really have going on? Why are you focusing on me?
That's right.
Yeah, Jemimah, I was a threat in my 50s to other women as well. So it doesn't matter what age you are, you're still a threat if you're a single woman.
Oh, I don't want your bald husband. Jesus, keep him.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But I think as you get older, it becomes less of a threat to you, because you just tend to go, oh, that's their problem. I don't care. You know, I can wipe things off probably easier now than I could have when I was younger. And I took things to heart, you know, but then that also can depend on the individual person as well. You know, I tend to look at things and I think, oh yeah, so they're coming from there. Oh yeah, that's their problem. You know, and I think the older I get, the more I understand is what other people think about you is none of your business. You know, when I was 30, I'd say that was a bullshit thing, you know, whereas now I go, not my problem. You know, I can move on. But it also probably comes down to me knowing who I am now and having more confidence in me. So maybe someone who's not as confident in themselves would still take that into consideration.
So I am finding, and I find that as you get older, I guess maybe from, 45, but more from 50, I felt it more, as those physical changes of, the energy is lower and you start going through menopause and, everything starts to change. You have more grays than you had 10 years ago. So physically, as things change, it slows you down, and your approach to things slow down too if you let it. So I'd like to ask Val, actually, how have you found that I guess motivation and that intrinsic energy to actually buy a ticket to Africa and go and do all these awesome things in the prime of your 70s?
Interesting. Listening to all your comments through the 20s, 30s, 40s, it's interesting, the pressure, and I had actually forgotten about it. And as you all spoke of it, I thought, yes, I can remember that. And that's probably part of the joy of being where I am now. Not that, and it's making me appreciate it more, just having heard all of that, because I thought I really have got to a point now where at long last, you see yourself evolving over the years, but where I've got to now, I actually just really embrace, and I actually love it. And if somebody's not in the same space, that's also okay, but you learn the non-judgment. And once you learn the non-judgment, then you don't put pressure on others and you don't put pressure on yourself. You get into more, well, for me personally, I've got into more of an total acceptance role. And I just think, yes, I'm just having the best time now, and all the lessons that I've had over those years, I really embrace, because, and I say thank you, because that's got me to the point where I am now, and I can help others in a very different way that I never ever imagined. But just, you've got to believe in yourself too. Like for me to go and take that ticket to Africa, I had to believe in myself 100%. And I had to get the intuition, because that's all I had to guide me, whether something was safe or whether something wasn't, whether I should do it or whether I shouldn't. it's getting that belief in yourself, and as well to be able to step out of and do something that you think you'd like to do, but maybe you wouldn't. Your head talk can talk you out of it. So yeah, it's believing in yourself. A can-do attitude. Yeah. But it's interesting times. Yeah. And it's really interesting because I listened to you over the years, the different thinkings, and it's really interesting that I don't even, like, I've just turned 75 and I just cannot comprehend it. It's a number that sounds so foreign to me because I don't even think numbers. So different things that you've been speaking of, I think, oh, yeah, numbers just don't mean a thing to me. I don't think about it. It's just, I just am me. That's it. Yeah, it's interesting.
Isn't it so interesting that each decade we can actually remember feeling that way when we were in that decade?
That's right. And,
So
your perspective on it now from where we are now and looking back, it's just, it's really interesting to see the pressure that others put on us and that we put on ourselves as well to try and conform when perhaps we didn't conform. Yeah. Where to allow us our own uniqueness, I think, is really important, no matter what age, what decade. A huge one.
Another interesting thing that I've also noticed is I don't have parents, so I don't have to live up to parents' expectations anymore. You know, that
but you would have friends, that would put expectations on you?
Yeah. Yes, very much. Yeah, my mother was very judgmental, so I never lived up to her expectation. Whereas now, bad luck, Mum. You know?
So there's some freedom in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, says Lucy, she's still obviously got parents.
Well, I live a long way from my parents. So unlike my sister, they're not right there in the same town as me. So I have some separation from them, and that's nice, a bit of a buffer. Expectations are a little bit different when there's space.
Very true.
Yeah. So maybe that's the trick. Maybe you just need to, Jemimah, just put more space between all of those people and you. You know what they call it? Social distancing. We're calling it expectation distancing.
I've gotten a lot better at managing that. Let me be super clear on that. I felt a lot more pressure, probably pre-pandemic and pre-divorce. And I think that was because I felt like I was marrying someone that I wasn't 100% certain on, but he was a good guy. So what's wrong with you? Like, he's great. Are you sure you'll end up alone? A lot of those conversations happened either internally, quietly, or those slight pressures, which I think is more dangerous than the avert of like, why aren't you having kids? It's like, you are turning 37 this year. Like, that stuff I find more toxic than, so you want to have a baby yet? What's going on?
Question. This is just coming through for me.
Yeah.
Do you think that people have nothing else to talk about?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that I did something from just my experience when I got divorced. I was the first person out of every person that we knew, and like all the weddings we've been to, we were the first. And if you're the first of anything, of any friendship group, if you were the first one to have a baby, or if you were the first one to have kids and to settle down, or the first one to get married, you had there was no roadmap ahead of you. You didn't see the other side, really. I was the first, like, out of my high school, out of everything. I was 33 when we split. We were not married very long. And, I got a lot of unsolicited advice, and I'm like, you don't know our circumstances, please get out of that. But what I felt really interesting from that was the amount of voyeurs that turned up. And I was like, get a hobby, please. Like, go collect stamps. That's a great one. Very easy to do. Go coins, also good. Go watch a movie. Like, we got like a lot of people that tell us everything. No, get more stuff to talk about, because if I'm the most interesting person in your life, you need better friends. Honestly, I'm not that interesting. And it was people that weren't my friends that were the problem. always, because, you know, the real friends were in the trenches with you. They were the ones who, you know, who were always going to be that person. Not one true friend has ever looked at me and been like, gonna have a baby? Are we excited? You won't be fulfilled without them, because they know me and know that I'm good and that I love what I do. And I love who I am, and I love this time of my life, and I like how I do it. And I like the person I'm becoming and who I've really stepped into. Get a hobby for those other people. And if you're being that person and you're listening to this, you're like, I do ask my daughter all the time to stop it. On behalf of the 6 women on this phone call, please going to ask that question again. Please.
So Val, does life get better after 40? Or do you reckon it's after 50 life gets better, or?
70. It's funny. I've never ever been conscious or aware of my age or the numbers going from one decade to the next, but 70 hit me big time. Probably turning 75 hit me more than 70. Really, really felt it and really had to have a talk with myself, because I sort of was putting myself on the burner that I was, okay, I'm on a downward slide. And honestly, my life is, I'm doing a lot more with my life now than I have in a very, very long time. And I've got things in my life where there's a lot more smiling, there's a lot more fun, there's a lot more happiness on so many levels, and things that I've done and people I'm meeting. So it's interesting. It's so much in your head talk, so much. And what we tell ourselves, it's the stories we tell ourselves over and over, and the words we use, and that makes a huge difference.
I did, Lorraine, you know Roberta O'Day, a hypnotherapist that we both know and have done some work with. Roberta and I have been talking in the past about this very subject, and she said that she does find that in the 50s is when people start coming to her, because all of that stuff from childhood and teenage years and 20s, all of those experiences that we've tucked away and tried to forget about and get on with life, start coming back to haunt us in our 50s. And people will come to her with anxiety or stress or, you know, some funny little thing that's going on for them, and it all goes back to something that they've tucked away, you know, from their 20s. So that 50s decade thing, it can be, it's not necessarily for everyone, but it can be the decade of awakening. If you dig deep and go there and ask for help from other people to dig deep and go there. And then, you know, for some people, they push it away, and the awakening doesn't happen until your 60s or your 70s, or maybe never. Some people.
That's right, maybe never. I think there are some people that fall into that category too.
Many people will choose not to face it.
Yeah.
And that's the life, you know, that's when you go through, you know, the life-changing sort of bit, isn't it? Where men go out and have affairs and women go off and do stuff and marriages all fall apart. It's often around that time because of all of that sort of stuff, I think anyhow. Because
you're taking a fresh look at the way you're living your life and what you've done in the past and where you're going in the future. Possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
That's pretty sad, isn't it?
Very.
Nis, what were you going to say?
I have a question. Does everyone here are all divorced?
I'm not.
Okay.
3 times.
Because we just got me and my husband are married for almost 4 years.
Is she looking over her shoulder to make sure he's not listening?
No, she just come in and it's very loud, so I need to mute myself. Okay. I just want to know, like, we're in our early stage of our marriage. So and no one wants to get divorced, right? Like we don't plan for that. It just happened. But what can you, I want to know your advices, especially about relationship. How did it happen? How to handle like that? Like I don't know the future. I don't know what will be happening to us, but how to avoid that, something like that. I really want to know, how did you handle those things that I can get
Avoid maybe getting
yeah,
divorced in the
avoid,
future.
yeah.
The one thing, advice, because I get this question a lot now, I actively talk about this, like Mamma Mia ran a story on my divorce. It was a whole thing. There's two things I would tell anybody who's getting married. The first one is this: that person that you're going to marry, like really look at them properly, and preferably before you get married, but sometimes after, and really look at them and evaluate. You're going to have to fight every battle with this person. The worst of the worst. You're going to have death. There's going to be death and destruction, and bad things are going to happen, and you're going to lose people, and financial stuff. And that's your teammate. Is that person going to be able to hold you up when things are going wrong? And are you going to be able to look at them and love them enough to hold them up during that time? You are fighting those battles together forever. That's your plan moving forward. And I wish someone had explained that to me, because there was no way that I was going to be able to, my husband was going to be able to do that for me. Having said that, now that you are married, my advice would be this: if you're fighting with each other, go and put on like the same color t-shirt or the same color hat, and always remember that you guys are meant to always be on the same team moving forward.
That's pretty good advice, actually.
Lovely.
That's good. Thank you.
I think as you get older, relationships change and you mellow in some ways, because sometimes you fight battles when you're young that realistically you should just go, who cares, and walk away from. It's not worth the battle. But then, if you've always got one person who goes, who cares, and walks away, then that's not necessarily good either. But I think, your overall, the way you look at things is very different, or the way I look at things is very different now than what I did when I was younger. And I think I realise now that men need their ego stroked. This mightn't come over very well. And I think to stroke a man's ego, they'll love it. Just to say, you look really hot in that. It's like the feathers in the back go up and they go, oh, yes. Oh, she loves me. Oh, and that's maybe that's my taking, is looking at marriages of my friends that are, into their 40 and 50 years and so forth, is they both worship each other and they stroke the other one's ego. They make them feel good. And to make someone else feel good makes us all feel good as well. So I don't know. That's just my little take.
I would say be authentic, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, you've got to look at them and think, oh, you look hot, and then say, you look hot. Whereas sometimes you look at them and you go, oh, yeah, okay. And then you go off. You don't tell them.
Okay, so here's a little story for you. So this is a lesson that I learned, and I actually pass it on to my clients as well when they're in their business. It's about dealing with other people and building a relationship with your staff or your clients, or in a marriage or with your children. And many years ago, I went to a Buddhist weekend retreat, and there was Buddhist monks, like real ones, and we meditated for 3 days straight. And one of the things that came up for me was, he's driving me crazy. Like literally, my husband is driving me up the wall. Like everything he does annoys me. And they said, you realize that it's not him that's being annoying. It's you seeing him being annoying. And I could not get my head around that. Like it was driving me up the wall. What do you mean? How can that be? He's being annoying. No, he's not being annoying in everyone else's eyes. He's actually just being him. But in your eyes, you're seeing it. It's your perception that's seeing it this way. Yeah. And then the lesson was, and this is the good one, great for any marriage, right? You ready, Niz? Here it is. Lift yourself up to be the person that you want to be in the relationship, and he will follow. So if we're all playing down here, that's where it's going to be. But if I'm playing up here and I'm giving the respect and I'm giving compliments and I'm doing the things that I think I would want him to do, then eventually he'll do the same. And I say that to business owners, lift yourself up to the quality that you want to see in your staff, and they will follow.
Good advice.
And
That's
man,
amazing.
it worked. I went home and tried it, and a couple of days later it worked. Go figure.
Wow.
The other thing I would say, Nis, is don't forget you and your husband, no matter how many children you have. And people use that as an excuse a lot and say, I haven't got time. But you need to make time, like at least once a week. You need to be having a date night. And just the two of you connecting, communicating, how are you, touching base. Because I've worked with so many people and they're, been married for 20, 30 years and they don't even know each other. They've had kids, their kids are leaving, then they get empty nest syndrome, and then they're like frightened. They're like, oh my God, I have to spend time with my husband. It's scary. So just keep it, it will take, effort, and people say, oh, I haven't got time, I've got kids, but you need to make time and honor that, because then your family as a unit will be so much happier.
Wow, thank you so much. That was Lorraine's advice for me. Like, I was working very hard and then she keeps on telling me, oh, you need to take a day off. Because I'm always focused on something that what I'm doing. Like, yeah, in my age, that's what I said, I have the pressure. So I also have that pressure in myself, keeping that fire, like the things that I'm doing right now. But this is really a reminder for me that I also have a life outside work, right? I have a life that I need to build outside this career that I'm building. So I have another question here. What was the horror? I mean, I hear someone. I don't know if that's a podcast, because I listen to podcasts. The hormones of the women, how does it change when you're aging? Like, the when you are in your 30s, how does the hormone feels way back when you're 20s? It does really matter, or how did you see things, perspectives? How does you see your goals, and how does you feel? How did you feel it? Something like that.
Val, what's the decades? How were your hormones over the decades?
Well, I was one of those unfortunate ones who had a total hysterectomy in my 30s. So I went straight overnight into all the hot flashes and everything else that comes on, with all of that. So mine was quite different. But I think it's just different for everybody. There's no norm. Everyone you speak to has a different experience. So it really is tuning within, isn't it? And seeing how you connect with your inner self.
Yeah,
just listening to your body, giving yourself time and space.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you've just got to, it really is, probably that would be the strongest thing I would have to say, is that you have to learn to listen to yourself. We all get into these different situations, pressures, work, family, friendship environments, but we do have to listen to ourselves, tune in, and if we don't honour ourselves first and foremost, well, we can't be there for everybody else and all the things that we're aspiring to. that you want to achieve in life. So I don't know. I think that, yeah, that's one piece of advice I'd give over and over. It's just, you've got to tune into yourself, and let your body, listen to your body. Yeah, listen to your body.
Yeah, body is different for everybody. I mean,
Absolutely.
I think the stress of my marriage in my 30s made me, I had a period that went for over 12 months. So I had a curette, and the next thing I know that my period just sort of petered out. And by 40, that was gone. So, you know, I was lucky, as in that's my biggest symptoms gone. So I didn't have horrendous menopause like some women have. But I look back now and I go, it was stress, hormonal stress, that made it stop. And that's why, you know, I went through early menopause.
And I think that's an important thing too, because a lot of the issues that we do have with health, what's stress level within that? Because that does influence it, as you just said, Lorraine.
And that was my normal. So therefore I didn't realise it wasn't normal. You know, I had no clue that what was not normal wasn't normal. You know, you don't know what you don't know until later, and you look back at it and you go, oh, that's what was happening. But hormones change, and, you know, a lot of people get really moody and they really have trouble with things. And, you know, then I sometimes wonder, you know, how much is also choice, that they choose to be a little bit moody too, and, you know, they choose to misbehave. It's really hard to know where hormones send you, and how you can, probably not looking after yourself is one of the reasons people choose to be not so happy, because they haven't taken the time out to look after themselves. Lisa, you must be 55. You're right in the middle of menopause in some ways, or at the end of it maybe. How are hormones affecting you?
I don't know where it sits, like beginning, middle, end. Who knows? Because my mum said hers went on for 15 years. So who knows where I sit in the time frame of it. As I said earlier, I feel like, well, you know, there's the whole mental and emotional change where you stop and you start looking back. Oh, gee, I wish I knew then what I know now. Or, oh my goodness, you know, how much time is left on my clock. My clock's ticking, but in a different direction now. Wow, what do I need to get done? What do I need to clean up?
And God help me if I ever got pregnant again.
And then there's the physical things that start to change, because you start getting aches and pains, and you know, and your teeth aren't as good as they used to be, and you start, oh my goodness. Couple of months ago, I was just walking along and I tripped on a crack in the sidewalk and fell over. Well, the first thing that kicked in was, quick, Lisa, get up. My ego didn't want anyone to think that I'd tripped over because I was old. I'm fine, everyone. I didn't fall. I didn't say this, but I was trying to, it's not because I'm old. There's a crack in the sidewalk. It wasn't my fault. So you start, without even knowing it, you start getting a little bit defensive about, hey, everyone, you don't need to give me a walking stick yet, even though they're not thinking that.
But we think it. Yeah.
But we think it. Yeah.
Oh,
You've been there, Val?
Think it. My children think it. My children are behaving like I'm getting close to being geriatric, and it's like, for God's sake, leave me alone. I think as they're getting older, they think that they're scared they're going to have to start looking after me. So now I'm getting the lectures from them, and it's like, oh, leave me alone.
Let me age gracefully.
Yeah.
Without tripping over any sidewalks.
That's right.
Yes.
That would be much more graceful.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Mel, you must be perimenopausal sort of thing. So your hormones would be doing really strange things probably at this stage, no?
Not at all.
I've never been healthier, fitter. I mean, you get out of life what you put in, don't you? So self-love, self-care is something I value. I spend a lot of money, naturopaths, exercising, Pilates. I love to feel good. Cold. I love hearing Val. Went this morning into the sea and had a swim, and I feel like I was 100 when I was about 6. That's when I started to take on my inner child roles and fears and heaviness. So as I get older in this work I feel younger every year. I feel lighter. My period's never been as regular as clockwork. And so, yeah, and stress. I don't have stress in my life. So I've worked so much on releasing all of the stress. So, I mean, I used to be a nurse in palliative care and oncology. So there's a direct relationship between your health or disease and the stress in your life. So when you learn to release stress and access the parasympathetic nervous system every day, that's why your morning rituals are so important, your evening rituals, then your body goes into homeostasis and it heals itself, and it doesn't matter what age you are. Like we don't have to have any ailments or diseases or issues. It's all, letting us back home. What am I here to learn? Where am I looking after myself? Where am I putting pressure on myself? So as you know, from metaphysics, our body is the compass. It's telling us, hey, don't do that. Hey, move in this new direction. So, I would say, that's why I love getting older. I feel lighter every year. I've got more energy because I'm living more. I never knew how to live life. No one taught me how to live life. I was just existing. It was heavy. It was hard. I was taking on all the issues and problems of everyone in the world, and gosh, but now I just live my life. I don't watch the news. I don't focus on anyone else's business. I just get up every day and I help people that come to me and want support and they want to love more and themselves and the universe. And that's where I focus my attention. So I just live my life to the fullest every day. Like I live every day like it's my last. I learned that from palliative care, and I will continue to remain that way.
You're obviously living it because you're in a great space and you can see it in you. Well done.
Thank you, Val. Yeah, thank you. Well, it takes courage to look within, but it was my only option. I either die now or I have a look in, and I went, I'm too stubborn to die, so I'll look in. So that was, my greatest gift was really my depression and my anxiety. It got me moving because I couldn't stay in that pain anymore. So I got moving and went within and found everything I'd been resisting. It was my joy, my life, my light, my individuality, my authenticity, and having fun.
That's what I found with the swimming group. We've been talking to different ladies and how they feel, and one of them, she stopped having the hot flushes from the swimming, but many of them have just found their inner child, and it's the only place they're able to go to just really be themselves and wear their own hat. And it's just amazing just to see how they flourish and just how much joy that they get within them. Yeah, and each one does it for themselves. It's just amazing.
And I reckon that's because when the water is freezing cold, you have no choice. You just be yourself.
Absolutely.
There's no hiding in the freezing cold water.
No, there is no hiding, and it's just total acceptance. There's no judgment. It's just an awesome experience. Yeah. One day I guess I might get sick of it, but at the moment I'm still enjoying it. Yeah.
Where do you do that, Val?
Just down at the Frankston Beach.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're preparing to do the freeze for the MND. So we're planning that. So it'll be an interesting one. But no, it's just amazing, just testing oneself each morning.
So one word to say how you are, what you feel about aging now and how you...
Excited. I'm excited.
I was going to say embracing. Embracing is my word.
Grateful.
Grateful. Yeah.
It's an opportunity that it's something that my father was killed when he was 26. So like it's not, aging is not given to everybody. I'm grateful that I get to do that every single day.
It's a pleasure.
I think mine's accepting.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lisa's thinking.
thinking hard. I'm waiting. I'll revert to Nis to give us hers first.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, challenging. Yeah, it's a bit challenging for me since I am looking forward to, like, I'm seeing myself get into 30, then 40, then 50, like as I am mirroring myself with what you have right now. Like, I am really thinking that, oh, they have done a great things. They have really a lot of challenges that I know everyone has different challenges in their lives, in their 30s, in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. So I am positive that, wow, they are you guys are really my some sort of inspiration right now. Like, I need to be more to hold on to what I have right now. I need the challenges that I have right now in my age. As you go into your challenges, and now you're in your another stage of life, stage of age, and I do believe that I can do it because you have been
Absolutely.
there. Yeah.
It's
And yeah,
just
that's
different challenges at different ages. That's
Mm.
all.
Yep.
But if we didn't have the challenges, how boring would life be?
There would be no growth without the challenges.
Yeah. Okay.
The
So my
learning,
word
isn't
is opportunity, because
Yeah.
I can see, there's still lots of opportunity now with all the knowledge that you have each decade, all the tools that you have. There's so much more that you can still achieve, do, enjoy, and maybe even go for an ice cold swim.
Yes. Grit your teeth as you say it.
I'm still working on that one.
Fair enough. Yes.
Thank you, ladies. This has been really, really fascinating, interesting, and you've shared absolutely beautifully. Thank you so much. Absolutely, every one of you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Lorraine.
ladies.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. Like, I
That's
can
wonderful.
picture
Thank you.
myself.
You can do it.
I can picture myself like, oh,
You will be great. You will be great.
You've got this.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Great to meet
Jemimah.
you, girls.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Wow, Love, Light, Inspire, the podcast, especially for women like you. Now, I'm sure you enjoyed today's conversation. It was really, really good. We learned so much about, everyone's opinions on getting older and how much easier it is in life as we get older. It's quite amazing. So each week we speak to different inspirational women, as you heard today. These were really inspiring top women, and they share their stories with all of us, and we get so much from it. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. We release one every Friday. So each week you'll get a different episode on a different topic with a different person speaking. So if you enjoyed it, please share it with your friends. We'd really appreciate that. Subscribe so you never miss another episode and you know when they're being released. And please, please leave us a review so we can get to the top of the Google charts, or the Apple charts, or whoever it is that you're listening through, I should say. Please leave us a review. We'd really love to hear that and hear your ideas and your takeaways from each of the episodes. But do you know someone who has such an amazing story to tell that would be really good for all our listeners to hear and that they're prepared to share? We would love to speak to them. So please leave us a message with someone that you know that could be really good for everyone to listen to. Now, thank you to Nissa. She's put this podcast together for you all, and all our guests, the five women, 5 women today who were just amazing. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us, your knowledge, and talking to us about everything about aging and being so open. It was really fantastic. So this is Lorraine Roberts, your productivity strategist. And if you need help reinventing your life or getting into action, then I'm the person you need. So please send me a message and I can certainly help you. I have, sessions running every Monday to get you into action to make sure that you become a successful person that you want to be in life. Okay, I know you're going to cut this bit out. So if you want to find us, please have a look on Facebook, it's not www for Facebook, sorry, Love Light Inspire. You'll see us on Facebook, Instagram, or you can go to the website as well, www.lovelightInspire.com. And please remember that all the information spoken about today is just general information. It was just our opinion on how we felt getting older. If you need some help in your situation, please seek out an expert, someone who can help you get some professional advice and make sure it's for you. So thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it, and goodbye.